Okay, so we're gonna make a, let's say, complicated volume now that we can use with our lighting and whatnot. If you're coming from Dynamics 2, you can just use that, but I would actually strongly encourage you to stick around for this anyway. The Houdini has some pretty cool cloud tools that we're gonna use here, and they can even be used as interesting sources for Dynamics anyway. So it's just good to know. In any case, I'm gonna start from the pig head that I like to always start from. I'm gonna control click a camera in there. I'm gonna put a distant light up here. Go back into the camera. And then I'm gonna put a mantra node over here. And there you go. So now we got the bare minimum of a setup. And now let's actually get to it. So cloud is the aptly named SOP that we're gonna use. Straight off the bat, it's making a 50 by 50 by 50 VDB, as you can see. Pretty cool. And then we got the lighting. Not too fancy yet. Anyway, so we got our cloud. Now the cloud itself does a lot more than just make a 50 by 50 by 50 VDB. Scatter shapes is one of the cool things it has. Basically, it's gonna sprinkle some volume spheres all over it. I'm gonna make these a little bit smaller, so we can kind of still get a sense of the head there. So there we go, something like that. And then we can even give it secondary shapes. This is going to spawn little ones off of that, and if I do like iterations 3, it'll even do ones off of that. I'm going to say scale multiplier 0.9, so they'll get successively smaller as they scatter on each other. Not a huge deal. There's just a lot of your general noise things that you'll see in here. I mean, we're not going to spend too much time on really tweaking this. We just want to get something cool looking. And there it is. How cool is that? It's a bunch of spheres, right? That's awesome. No, it's not awesome at all. What we really want is cloud noise. Cloud noise is the jam. Cloud noise is when it really starts to look cloudy. So I'm going to kick up this amplitude. It's going to exaggerate these features, and look at that. Now we get all this nice crusty edges already. And if you think that's cool, well, holy crap, how about this? I kick up the amplitude on gonna really kick it up. Oh, that's too much. This will kind of be as if wind was blowing through it for a time. So I'm gonna make the element itself bigger. It's too small right now on those features. There we go. You can see the difference if I turn this off and on. See, it's a little more rounded and static, and this has this more like, I mean, if you really make it extreme, you could see it's as if there's like currents of wind inside of it blowing around. In fact, there's this notion of time. If you animate this time, it's as if you have a simulated thing already, actually, which is kind of crazy. I'm going to make these elements a little bit bigger, and then make this a little bit bigger. So that's something. Now this is still a little low res, because we started with 50, but now that we've got a vague sense of that, I'm going to kick this all the way up to 300. Because that's more of, 300 or even to 600 would be more along the lines of where we were with our dynamics last time. And you can see how hard it's working down here. It's not running a simulation. It's building just this one static frame of volume, but it's still going to be an expensive calculation for the machine to run this large of a VDB noisy thing. So it should only take a few more seconds, and then we'll be in business. But while I'm just talking for no reason, I mentioned that this could be a cool place to start a sim from. Probably wouldn't use this to start the sim as a source, like every frame I have to generate one of these into a volume. But you could start a simulation from this. Like maybe the first frame of your simulation was a smoky or steam-filled room. There we go. Surprisingly high res, right? I'm gonna move the camera a little bit more so we can stay in here. Pretty cool. I was gonna say you could start a simulation from this and then maybe go from there. So not sourcing every frame, but more like lesson 1, where we started from an existing volume. So let's see what a render will look like of this. This is, of course, just with one distant light, but you can see there's a lot of detail going on in here, and this is not even from a simulation. This is just from the cloud tools. This may not look exactly like a cloud, but we didn't, really dial the settings in. But it's absolutely a complicated enough volume to serve as a good example for the rest of this lesson. So, I would say at this point, just use drop like a file cache, sop down, just so it took like a minute or whatever to generate that, so we don't want to wait through that again, like next time you load this or whatever. So I would just say, just change this to like high res vol, and now it's gonna. And I always like to change this to job. I don't trust the hip variable. And we'll just cache this. We'll just say save the current frame. We'll save it to disk. Load from disk, and then there you go. So now whenever we load this, well, yeah, I guess I should save this actually as a Houdini file as well. We'll call this rendering that one. Great. So now that's it. So now it's just reading from this from now on, and we'll be good to go for the next chapter. See you there.